The reason why I decided to go into pop music is because based on market research, it is the thing that generates the most income, is business. It is not about what you do or how you do it, it's about the way that you're communicating what you do to people so that you're on the same page, there's lesser miscommunications and people understand what you're trying to do. Many people in Singapore and my students, they're all very talented, but the main issue with Asians, like especially Singaporeans, is that we tend to, lose out on the communicating part. You learn the fastest when you see the loyal letter inside your mailbox.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabrielle and I'm your host for We Are Not Ordinary. I'm joined by a very special guest called JJ, who is also known as Falling Feathers. So JJ is an independent musician, songwriter, educator, as well as a digital marketer. So you can really see that he is the epitome of trying different paths in order to achieve one's dream job. So in this episode, we're really going to take a deep dive to understanding JJ's life story and also seeing how you can make a name for yourself in the music industry without being at the forefront of it. So, hi JJ, very warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us in our humble studio today.
Hi Gab, nice to be in the studio with you today.
How are you feeling?
Feeling very hot actually. The weather is, not that there's anything wrong with your aircon, but the weather has been pretty bad. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to have you here today. So should I call you JJ or should I call you Falling Feathers?
Yeah, please call me JJ or whatever you like actually.
Okay, because Falling Feather is a bit of a mouthful, so for today's episode, I'm gonna call you JJ.
Yeah, sure.
But going back to the point about Falling Feathers, so is that a stage name of yours? And could you tell me a little bit more of how it came about?
I started my journey in music quite a while ago, and Falling Feathers was the name I came up with to market myself as a singer-songwriter. How did I come up with the name? Usually when people ask me this question, I will ask them, do you want to know the real reason or the real answer or the PR answer?
I want the real answer.
Yeah, so usually what I tell people is the PR answer is falling feathers represents, you know how birds, they always kind of shed feathers, drop feathers as they grow stronger ones, right? Grow newer feathers, stronger feathers. So the idea of falling feathers represents ever learning, ever growing, and the journey of growth lah. Because as the feathers fall, you grow stronger ones and you become better. Right, so that's the idea of falling feathers. That's the PR answer. The not so PR answer is I just went to a name generator, I hit generate, and this is what came up. So I rolled with it.
I vibe with you. This is this is very similar to how I came up with my Instagram name.
Oh.
So that is the exact truth. So I believe you and I buy your story.
Yeah, whatever works, right?
Yeah, right. And I'm so happy that you have a name that you can really truly call yourself and you found meaning in it yourself. So earlier on, when I was doing an introduction of you, we have found out and realized that you're a man who wears many hats. Many hats. I classify you into 4 things, right? Are those really just the 4 things that you do, or you do even more things? And could you tell us a little bit more about the things that you do, as well as what other things I may have potentially missed out on?
I think even for myself, it's very hard to quantify what I do. I got married last year, and my sister came back from my wedding, and she was telling me this story lah. She said, I told my friends I'm coming back for your wedding, and my friend and her friends asked her, also, what does your brother do? And she said, I have no idea what my brother does. And she told me this story, and I told her, I have no idea what I do too. I just wake up every day. I have a whole bunch of stuff to do. I do until I sleep, and I wake up the next day and I have a whole bunch of stuff to do, and I do until I sleep, and that's basically my life. But I think the anchor or the centerpiece of it is that everything that I do, I am either passionate about it, I enjoy it, or I am good at it. Some things I do, I might not be so good at, but I enjoy it. Some things I do, I'm pretty good at. So when you're good at something, you naturally kind of have the inclination to, I guess, get better at it,
right.
And you kind of enjoy it lah. So with every job, every business, or everything that we do, there are parts that you generally enjoy, and there are parts that you generally dread lah, right? I have not found anybody in the world that says I love doing admin work. Maybe they are, but I'm not a big fan of admin work. But admin work comes with a lot of the things that I do lah, right? Even running my own businesses, I have to sort out the P&L, file my taxes, and like stuff that is not super enjoyable. But for the most part, the general things that I do, I enjoy them mostly, right? So what do I actually do? I don't really know, but I guess to quantify them, I teach. I teach in a few different schools, some polys and some private schools. I do marketing and communications. I'm a freelancer, work with different companies and individuals to kind of fulfill their needs and help them find better footing, right? And I write music. I write jingles for advertisements. I write songs for publishers. I think that is mostly it.
Yeah? Do you need like a checklist to confirm? Yeah, maybe you should have came with that today, right?
Yeah, so I actually have a, this app called Notion.
Yes.
So I do keep track of what I do on Notion.
Yeah.
I try to. I used to run a whole bunch of businesses also, but like over time, I kind of dropped some, and right now I'm at a place where, I'm still trying to figure life out and always finding the next thing that I'm keen on doing and exploring what it means to live a fruitful life.
And that's really awesome to hear. So I wouldn't use the word favorite, but amongst all these roles that you have introduced to me so far, which one do you think is the most significant and impactful to your life, and why?
Good question. My journey, or rather my working life career, has always been surrounding music. So I started wanting to be an artist, a performing artist, and I managed to do that for a couple of years. A couple of years independent and a couple of years with a label, Warner Music. Thereafter, I kind of decided that, being at the forefront, being on stage is not exactly what I want to do. It isn't like what I imagined it would be. So I kind of fell back into doing more of the back end work, like writing music production, marketing for music, and a lot of the skills that I've developed in PR and marketing stem from my experiences as trying to learn how to market myself as an artist, trying to learn how to market my music, and dove into things like media buying on Facebook. Now it's called Meta, right? Google, and learn all these things. I wouldn't say music is the thing that I enjoy the most, but it is definitely a very key pillar in my development, because music was the medium that allowed me to learn some of the technical skills and soft skills that I possess today, right? Whether it's being able to stand in front of people and present myself without looking like I don't know what I'm talking about, right? And stuff like that, or things like learning how to run ads, how to do digital marketing, coming up with communication strategies to allow brands or individuals to better position themselves in the industry they are in. I think a lot of it stemmed from my days in the music industry. Not that I'm not in the music industry now, but a lot of it stemmed from music, and music was, I guess, the medium that allowed me to explore and gain all these technical and soft skills over time.
So if I were to go back and dig a little deeper into how at the very initial stages of your relationship with music, it was like, I want to be a superstar, right? And
correct.
then what was this turning point that made you realize that, maybe, being behind the scenes is more suitable for me instead?
There's no like one significant event or turning point. It's just after doing it for a couple of years, like for real, right? Trying to make it my career, making income from being a performer and original musician full time. I realized that I came to understand what it takes to do that, and I am not willing to partake in it. Whether you're a musician or a public personality, like a content creator, influencer, actor, I think this being a public personality comes with a part of the job that is not always enjoyable. You always have to go for all these like product launches, media previews, and stuff, because these are the clients that pay you money lah, right? And they hire you to perform for their events or whatever, so you gotta PR with them, you gotta smile even when your day is terrible, you just gotta go and PR, you gotta go hang out with a whole bunch of other artists, content creators and musicians that you might not enjoy being with, but it is a part of the career. You know, you always have to be posting on social media. You gotta keep an active whatever. You gotta always be communicating with your fans, your audiences, because these are the people that are the cornerstone of your career, right? So I don't think that is something that I particularly enjoy about the part. I initially I thought, you know, I wanted to be a freaking superstar. Right? I wanted to be famous and stuff. Then after, I mean, I'm not famous in any way, but after experiencing a little bit of what it's like to be a full-time original musician and artist, I decided that, hey, this is not really for me. I don't really want to be famous. I actually got into it because I just enjoy making music. More than the performing part, I enjoy making music, and I just gravitate towards most things music in general at that time. So I kind of decided that, you know, I still want to be a part of the music industry. I still want to write music, but I don't want to be trapped by these obligations. Like, I mean, I teach music business and business right now, and I help artists do marketing. I kind of know what needs to be done, right? And I tell people, hey, you gotta be posting content, you gotta be interacting with your fans, you gotta be, you know, like finding brands to work with and whatnot. And if the artists tell me I don't want, I just want to make music, then I'll tell them, sorry, then I cannot help you. So it's the same thing. Like, I sat down with myself. I you know, JJ talked to Falling Feathers, and like, you know, like and Falling Feathers said, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to sell out. I don't want to, you know, always go out for media previews and talk to other influencers that I secretly hate and kind of things. And I want to live an authentic life. And being an artist at that point in time just didn't seem like the thing or the career that would allow me to be as authentic as I am, right? To be, because, you know, I'm sure for yourself and many people out there who work in media or marketing, you know that you mostly have no choice but to just be smiley and you know, just be PR lah, right? And I don't think that's something that I would like to be a very major part of my life. Yeah, so it was then that I decided that, oh, you know, I still like to do music. I want to do more stuff in the back end, and rather than becoming the rock star myself, I am very happy to help people do it. And that was how I decided that, you know, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff, I decided that, you know, being at the forefront or standing on stage is not something that I want to pursue anymore.
But even though you're not standing at the forefront of the stage, you know, just you write your own songs, right? And you have even published them on like Spotify.
Right.
And one of them is Happy Birthday to You, which has over 1 million streams, right? So
Yes.
yes, happy, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, really happy, right? So I think that's really awesome stats. But that being said, I know that your love for music is really from your heart. You know,
Right.
based on whatever you shared just now, it's really all about how genuine you are as well as how authentic you want to be as an individual.
Right.
So what's the difference between managing yourself, I'm assuming with writing your own songs and then really sharing and going out there on social media to publicize, as compared to being handled by an agent, for example? Do you find that process more appealing to you?
I think it's very different. At that point in time when I was with Warner Music, it was a very flexi arrangement, and to be frank, like a label, like all labels lah, all big labels, whether they're all big companies, whether you manage artists or you manage products, all companies only care about one thing: money, P&L, right? So at the end of the day, is, oh, show me a P&L, red ah. Then I spend more time on the guy that's green lah, right? It's something like that. So at that time, you know, I was just starting out as an artist. Obviously, I wasn't making like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like another artist, say Ed Sheeran, who is also with Warner Music, at that time dropped a single. No shit, the record label will promote Ed Sheeran and leave me out, right? But not that it's their fault or anybody's fault. This is just the way that it is. You know, we run businesses, we know P&L important ma. If not, how you keep the business afloat, right? So I think at that time, because I know that whether working with a booking agent or a label, even though they already signed you, there's a contract, it is still working very hard to prove that you are worth the resources. Because even at a big company, resources are limited, right? And whether it's funds or it's manpower, resources are limited. You need to prove that you are worth these resources, whether no matter which label you're at, no matter which company you work for. I think through that, I wouldn't say that I was completely managed by an agent. A lot of the conceptualizations of how to kind of market the music and generate income was still had to be suggested by me. But of course, at that time, I was a lot younger than I am now. It's almost like eight years ago or something like that. I cannot really remember, but I'm a lot less experienced and I have a lot less life experience. I made less mistakes, so I am not very good at doing that lah. But it's because of all these things I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned what it means to kind of manage music, manage myself as an artist, put my music out there, and learn how to use the resources at my disposal, like whether it's manpower or funds and stuff like that. After that so-called turning point where I decided that, I don't want to be an artist anymore. At that point in time when I was trying to be an artist, everything that I did was very intentional. One of the reasons why I got into pop music wasn't exactly because, I absolutely loved pop music. At that time, I was very into more heavy stuff like alternative rock and like pop punk and punk music and stuff like that. But the reason why I decided to go into pop music is because, based on market research, it is the thing that generates the most income. Is business. I started writing music that I think would sell rather than music that I enjoyed, which obviously made me pretty miserable lah. So after I decided to leave the label, and I decided I don't really want to be an artist anymore, not as a career. That was very liberating, because right now I'm able to write all sorts of crap that I don't need to worry about whether they are able to generate enough income for me, whether this song will work well in the market. I don't care. I just write stuff that I enjoy, which is the core of why I do music these days, right? And whether it's Happy Birthday to you, or like all my other songs that I release after that, the goal was just that, I have some stories to tell. I put them into a wave form, right, an audio form with some lyrics and melody, and just throw them out there into the universe and trust that whoever needs to find them, whoever needs to hear the song, will hear it. I do, sorry to all my students and whatever, I know I keep telling you all marketing very important, branding very important, but for myself, right, I do it for the purpose of my sanity and stuff. So I do zero marketing, like just zero marketing, zero ad dollars, zero social media. It's just nothing. I just throw them up on Spotify, on YouTube, and trust that the universe will deliver these songs to the people who want to hear them and need to hear them.
And who deserves to hear them.
I don't know if I don't know if they, I don't know if that's how
They'll
I
be so
put
humble.
it. Yeah, but that's it lah. So now my music journey is very segregated. Like when I'm doing music for myself, for my own sanity, for my own enjoyment, I don't really care if this is going to work. Even though the song structure is like full of crap and like there's no real song structure, I just do it because who cares? I want to, right?
Because you just like it.
Yeah, I just like it. And my whether I can pay my mortgage or my loans or whatever doesn't depend on this lah, right? And I think that's very liberating. It allows me to be fully authentic as a creator. Whereas when it comes to work, like a company comes to me and say, hey, we want to sell this product, make us a catchy stuff, and here are the keywords. I cannot say, hey, okay, I'm gonna make this song metal, Cannot lah. I have to do what will work for them lah, based on the brief and whatever lah. That part I enjoy. Not always. I don't always enjoy it because I will have to follow a brief pretty strictly, and work is work. I do that to for income to pay for my house, pay for my credit card bills, to pay for my water bills, electricity bills, and stuff lah. Like
reality.
To adulting lah, right? And all of the other stuff lah, like whether I'm doing marketing for artists, whether I'm doing PR, making media kits for musicians or comedians, actors, and stuff like that, which I do. All these things, I see them as work. I'm very objective about them. Maybe I feel like for a certain musician, the branding should be a certain way, but I don't try to kind of force my ideals or idea onto them lah, because that's work. I will try to work with them in the most quantifiable, logical way, such that I fulfill my responsibilities, right? What they do, whether they actually enjoy their music or whatever, that is for them to figure out lah. But for me, I know that I am not willing to partake in the things that will allow me to make music my career, especially writing music that I know would potentially work, right? I want to be writing the music that I want to be writing. So it would be a very stressful life to depend on that to pay for your stuff, to make a living, right? And there are many people out there, including some of the musicians or actors that I work with, that really have so much passion for their craft that they are able to mentally take the weight of the stress that my passion is my income generating thing. But for me, I choose not to, because when your passion is your main income generator, it's very tough to emotionally separate yourself from it, right? Because for now, business is business. I write a press release and send it out for somebody. The client say my press release is terrible. Great. I mean, okay, not great, but it's work lah. I take it in stride and I just ask them how I can make it better, right? But when you're an original artist or original content creator, imagine you're a content creator, you make lifestyle content. People, whether it's clients or people, tell you that, hey, your content is terrible, man. You need to go and fix the way that you're speaking. Your diction is terrible. Even though it's work, it's your main income generator, it's directed at your passion. It's directed at you, your soul, my craft. It is very difficult not to get emotional about it. I have so much respect for the people who are able to do it because I choose not to. I don't want. I want to be able to separate my craft and emotions from my work. I think that allows me to view things a lot more objectively. And I'm not saying that people should not make their passions their main income generating source. In fact, I always encourage people to. It's just that for me,
your preferred way of doing it is a segregation style.
Yeah. Or rather, music is my passion, original music is my passion, and I like doing it, but doesn't mean that I don't enjoy doing marketing, I don't enjoy doing communication. I still like it, just that it's a lot less personal for me lah. When people say your marketing strategy sucks, it's like, okay, never mind, I can always learn, I can always get better. But when people say your music sucks and that is your main income generator, it's gonna hurt, right? But now when I've separated it out, I don't need anybody's approval for my original music. You think it sucks? Sure, man. I mean, cool, man. Like, if you think it's great, thanks, man. That is not my main income generator, and it does generate income, but I don't depend on it for survival, and I think that is very liberating for me.
Whatever happens, man. Because the point is, as long as you're happy, you put your work out there, and it's work that you genuinely enjoy. You're writing your own brief, right? Nobody's telling you better include these keywords, you better include this advertisement, anything. No expectations. It's purely from you and your love for music.
Yeah, and there's no KPIs. There's no ROI. The ROI is I happy lah, which is, I think happiness is a very important ROI in life.
So earlier on, you mentioned advice for your students. So I understand that you're an educator doing media and communications related work. So do you teach? You mentioned, right? You teach at like polytechnics as well as private schools.
Right.
So at least from my own opinion, I think music and digital communications are two things that are different. So how do you manage to weave them together, and how has it been as a career-wise? So how do you put music and digital communication together?
Okay, so I teach a whole bunch of stuff, but I think I am able to segregate them into two main pillars. I teach music business and communications at a few institutions, or two rather, and I teach pure communications at another institution. That's got nothing to do with music, right? So for the music part, it's pretty straightforward. I share things like industry knowledge, what is music distribution like, what is music publishing like, how can you cement yourself as somebody in the music industry for career purposes, and all sorts of stuff, like how do you write a proper press release and stuff like that. And for communications, I teach at the diploma levels. It's pretty straightforward in a sense where I teach stuff like how do you, public speaking for example, I teach public speaking, I teach pitching, how do you craft a pitch, so I teach a whole bunch of people from a whole bunch of different disciplines, including nursing, game design, a whole bunch of different engineering, and but no matter where you're from, communications is a very vital and important part of life. Whether you're trying to get a promotion at the company you're working at, you're trying to pitch a new product to some venture capitalist, or if you're trying to pitch your service to a client, like communication is very important, right? So in the communications pillar, the modules I teach under communications, I teach stuff like how do you write a proper resume, how do you write a proper cover letter, email writing etiquettes, pitch presentation techniques, how do you use gestures, or how do you show that you're speaking confidently, and stuff like that, which are soft skills that are pretty vital to any career, right? Because I think many people in Singapore and my students, they're all very talented, whether it's in engineering or in music or in whatever they do. But the main issue with Asians, like especially Singaporeans, is that we tend to, lose out on the communicating part. I might be very good at, doing engineering, or I might be very good at doing supply chain, methodologies or whatever. But how can you communicate it to your client? How can you communicate it to your superior that you're actually good at it, right? Because that is how you get the job lah, kind of thing, right? The execution only comes after ma. Yeah, so that's what I teach for the communications. And
Can I pause and actually challenge
Yes.
and ask you, right?
Yes.
So how do you become so good at these things? Because I'm a communication student myself, and a lot of what I do is really based on like day-to-day work experiences. So I don't know whether it's good, but I'm just thinking that this style works best for me. And when I'm in front of the room, it makes me feel the most confident, and I'm able to convey the content that I'm putting forth. But there's no like how I became good at it as well.
Right. First of all, I wouldn't say that I'm good at it. I think I just do it pretty decently, enough to be able to teach people how to do it. I think there are a lot of people I look up to that I think do it much better than me. But for me, I think whether it's communications or whatever skill sets that I currently think I possess, I think I gain them or I come to possess them by just doing a whole bunch of stuff and making mistakes. I think I have always been somebody who is very interested to understand what it means to do a certain thing. I've always been very interested to achieve my goals lah, whatever they are, even though the goalposts kind of change at different seasons in my life. I am somebody that wakes up and I want to go get it, So in the process of going to get it, obviously I made a lot of mistakes. I offended a lot of people. I think it's through these things that I learn lah. I can summarize them in a couple of stories. There was a long time ago, I was, I think, 18 years old. I was in a band and we were releasing our first EP, and I booked a venue, a very popular venue in Singapore, a bar. Of course, I'm not going to mention the name lah, okay? But 2 weeks before my event, they told me I needed to postpone my event because they had another bigger event that they needed to do, like a bigger band or bigger corporate thing. I can't really remember. And being the retarded person that I was, I went on Facebook. At that time, Facebook was a thing, no Instagram. Yeah, I went on Facebook and I wrote a whole long, like ranting post bashing this venue, which is founded by some of the most important people in the music industry lah, right? And stupid 18-year-old me decided to just go and offend them lah, because hey, stupid ma, angry and you think you're good, then you go and scold them. And then the CEO of that company, they own multiple venues, they actually called me and he whacked me up upside down, inside out. I could understand lah, because this stupid 18-year-old kid was going around to destroy their reputation just because they were trying to conduct business lah. If somebody offered you $1 million, would you probably tell the other guy who pay you $1,000 to, can you postpone your event? I mean, now as a business owner, I get it lah, right? I get it. But I was 18 years old and hot-blooded and offended a whole bunch of people. And when I was, apart from, I'm on good terms with them now, because obviously I apologize.
You gotta fix it.
Yeah, I know that I screwed up. I screwed up, right? And throughout my years of trying to start businesses, I have also made a lot of mistakes, and you learn the fastest when you see the lawyer letter inside your mailbox. People try to sue you because either you were being a little shit or people are trying to take advantage of you, right? And stuff like that. So it's through things like that I really learn. I screw up, and people who are like heavy hitters in the industry, either they scold me or other people, they threaten to do stuff to me, and scared lah. I'm just 21 years old trying to make something happen in my life, and you learn that, oh, actually, it is not about what you do or how you do it. It's about the way that you're communicating what you do to people, so that you're on the same page. There's lesser miscommunications and people understand what you're trying to do. And no matter who you work with, people need to know that you're on their side. People need to know that you're not just trying to make a quick buck. People need to know that, what you're saying is true. And I think that all boils down to communication, whether it's public speaking, being able to communicate well via WhatsApp, via email, and rather than the actual service or product itself, being able to communicate or carry yourself well, I think is very important, and something that I learned over the years. For me, myself, I don't think there is any real method to it. I think it's pretty crazy, and there's no real way to learn communications.
Right.
Pretty controversial coming from a guy that teaches communications. I think it's the fastest way to learn anything is just to go out there and screw up. Wait for that. Okay, don't wait for the lawyer letter, but wait for
the
people
step
to.
before the lawyer letter, we stop there.
Try to lah. But for me, I am somebody that likes to take risks. evidently.
I can see that.
Right,
Yeah.
and I make a lot of mistakes, right? I offend a lot of people, and also throughout my life, I have met amazing people who sat me down and kind of mentored me, talked to me, and kind of explain to me that how life works. I don't fully agree with everything that they tell me, but I agree with many, and I managed to kind of embody some of these values that have been imparted to me over the years. And I am always going to be very appreciative of these people who took a chance on me, who hired me even though I was a freaking 19-year-old kid who knew nothing. Yeah, I'm always very thankful for these people.
Yeah, so I think that your students are actually really lucky because
Aw.
you have met your fair share of, your mistakes that you have made out there. So much so that I believe you have incorporated some of these learnings with your students as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, for me, no matter what subject I teach, okay, I think in the beginning I was a terrible teacher. I started teaching, I think, about 5 years ago. And when I started teaching, I thought that my role there was to ensure that every single student learned the syllabus, learned what I needed to teach. And that came with a lot of pressure, not just on myself, but on the students as well, because it was like, hey, why you don't listen to me? Why you never do this? Why you never do homework? Why you never, kind of thing. And I think there's a lot of negative energy lah. And thanks to one of my ex-lecturers who actually kind of mentored me and kind of got me into this mindset of how education could be like, right? I now adopt the mindset that, I'm not there to force anybody to learn the things that I'm teaching, and it is very egotistical to think that everything I'm teaching is right, because it might not be. A syllabus is dead, but humans are alive. So right now I adopt the approach or mindset in the classroom where every subject I teach is merely a conduit or medium for me to try to convey some of these life skills that I have learned through the mistakes that I've made. So whether they pass my assignment, or whether they do the exam, or whether they do well in the module that I'm teaching, my goal is very simple lah. At the end of the day, if you leave my semester, you leave my class, and you learn something, whether it's related to the subject matter or not, my job is done. And as long as I have enriched your life in some way, whether you learn how to do communications, learn how to write press release or not, doesn't matter lah. You can still write a crap press release, but if you left my class thinking that, oh, this guy taught me something, might not be related to music or business or communications, that's my job done. And I think that is also very liberating for me and for them, because I don't give them the pressure of, you need to do well, you need to the kind of thing lah. And I try to make my classes as chill as possible lah, because I was a student once.
Yeah.
We're all student once, and we know how it's like to be in the classroom with a teacher that
Micromanages your progress.
yeah, might not be very empathetic, right? Like imagine you're a student, you're going through some crazy family issue, and this teacher is hounding you to finish your freaking assignment. It's like, dude, just give me a freaking break, man. Yeah, so I try to not judge all. I mean, when a student doesn't turn up for class, when a student doesn't do well, I don't, I try not to immediately judge and be like, oh, bad student. Everybody has their own life and their own circumstances, and my role is really to be a facilitator. And as long as you're in my classroom, I'm a facilitator. I'm not here to, force you to learn. And
It's a two-way conversation, right?
yeah, I just want to facilitate.
You know what's so interesting about this conversation? We literally went from you wanting to be a superstar to now you becoming a superstar teacher, an educator. And that's very unconventional, right? Some people just, they are educators their whole life, or some people are just artists their whole life as well. So, if I may, I will summarize this as, choosing a very unconventional path. So what would your advice, being around, kids and students in school, if they are keen to pursue an unconventional path in their career, what would your advice be for them?
Oh, this is a very tough question.
Has it come up before?
Yeah, I think it has. And there is the model answer lah. The model answer is just do it lor, right?
Until their parents call you. Then you say,
Yeah,
actually.
the fact that for at least for the music classes that I teach, right? If they are in the music diploma, they are already in the rabbit hole lah. It's it's generally a industry that is not very well liked by Asian parents. Doesn't mean you cannot make a career out of it. I did, and many other people I know did. But if there is, I wouldn't say this advice. It depends on you, right? There are different types of people. Some people just want to go to work, get the salary at the end of the month, and watch Netflix at the end of the day. And there is nothing wrong with that. right? There's so many people in my life that are like that. My wife is like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just want to live a simple life. You find joys in the little things. You know, you're happy just going out for the barbecue stingray with your husband, and you're happy doing a job that is 9 to 6 every day, and sometimes you OT. You know, but you're contented, you're happy, right? There's people like that, and there are people like me lah. You want to go out there and get it, achieve your dreams and whatever. And I would say that this so-called unconventional path is going to be very tough. But if you're ready to take this on, then it's the cliche advice of just do it. And I think not beating yourself up too much if it doesn't work out, because life is a marathon and it's a journey. If you're chasing success, that is a goalpost that is always shifting. You will never be able to achieve that, and that is something I've come to realize over time. So I would say that if you are trying to go for this unconventional thing, as long as you're able to find sustainability doing it, you're able to live the life that you want to live by turning your passion into your career, that is the freaking best, man. And that is very, very fortunately my life. Like every single thing, whether I'm running some business that is not in music, or I'm doing something freelance, or I'm doing music, every single thing that I do, I enjoy a majority of the portions of it. And I don't think it's healthy to, kind of deviating away from the question, but I don't think it's healthy to box ourselves up into, oh, my passion is music, so I can only do music. Heck, man, I have so many passions. I have passions in, I have passions in marketing, I have passion in doing business, I have passion in music, I have passion in helping people, in teaching, and nothing is mutually exclusive. All these things can feed into one another. Doesn't mean that I'm a very good teacher means I cannot be a good songwriter. Doesn't mean that I'm very good at gardening means I cannot be a good chef. Nothing is mutually exclusive. And I think apart from going to get it, I think the most important thing that I'm trying to continuously learn how to embrace is to keep an open mind and to not judge people, things, events, anything too quickly, because the world is an amazing place lah. And if we are able to keep an open mind, we have a lot more headspace to identify opportunities, to identify, to see things for what they really are, rather than that boxed up perspective that we ourselves always tend to box ourselves up in.
Yeah, so now I'm going to turn the arrow back to you, right? And really your own definition of what it means to be successful, taking this road less traveled.
I think success is an illusion, and I don't believe in success. I believe in sustainability, which is what I always teach in class also lah. Like, success is a never-ending journey, right? It's a goal that you will never reach, because the definition of success is different and it can change. But I believe if your goal is sustainability, so to me, sustainability is being able to wake up every single day, you feel mostly joy, right? I mean, there are ups and downs in life, right? But you feel mostly joy, you feel mostly excited to go out there and get it, and you are able to make enough income for yourself to live the life that you want to live. That to me is sustainability, and that is the goal. For me, it's not success, it's sustainability. And for many years, I have been very lucky to be able to achieve this so-called sustainability, right? Sure, I cannot buy that condo in Orchard Road, but I can buy my 3-room nice HDB flat somewhere in Bidadari. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Okay, but yeah, sure. Maybe I cannot afford that BMW. Maybe I cannot afford that. Like whatever 6 Series, 5 Series, or But if I wanted to, I could buy a Honda Jazz. That's cool, right? I'd rather be doing that than to take on so many clients, make so much money, and to dread my life every single day just so that I can pay my $10,000 a month mortgage, just so that I can pay for my stupid, BMW or Mercedes that, like what for, right? Yeah, so, but that's me lah. I mean, no judgment to people who want to buy condos, BMWs and Mercedes, like you do you.
Right.
But for me, sustainability is important, and that is how I want to continue to live my life, as challenging as it might be. But I don't think there's any human being that's walking the earth that lives their life without challenge lah. Everybody is challenged in one way or another, whether you do a boring day job or you're an entrepreneur. We just have different challenges, and I just prefer to deal with my challenges
in a different way. You like to light it on fire and let it go crazy.
yeah. I am I don't like
you don't like boring.
I don't like boring.
So your idea of what success means to you, taking the unconventional path, is really being sustainable. right? So if we were to go a little bit further and ask, what are some benefits as well as drawbacks when it comes to taking like the unconventional path? Well, like, I mean, one of them would be that, people will frown upon it. Maybe it'll take a little bit more convincing from, your partner as well as your parents. But that being said, that's just one that I recognize that,
Right.
usually comes up. But could you share a little bit more about what other roadblocks you meet along the way?
Okay, let's address that one about the people close to you. Parents, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, dog.
Your dog?
No, I don't have a dog. But people identify as all sorts of things these days. So but yeah, I think community support is extremely important, and for me, I have been extremely lucky that my family, my wife, and even like my closest friends, they have always been very supportive. Haven't really been in a situation where people where they're very close to me have come in to say that JJ, you do this business cannot cannot make money, whether it's music or like whatever random businesses I start, or teaching, like generally the people that are closest to me, whether it's my family, my wife, or my friends, have always been very encouraging. Thinking back, I think it's a very important core supporting factor for me, because everybody has always been, JJ, yeah, come on lah, you just try, and I mean, of course, I carry the burden of my failures, and I carry the weight of my successes, I guess, but most people around me who are very close to me and still close to me, have always been very supportive, and they believe in me lah, for whatever stupid reason, they believe in me lah.
Because they love you. I feel like it's as simple as that sometimes, right?
Yeah, maybe.
And they know you.
Yeah.
And they know what you prioritize in life.
Yeah, they might not always understand what I'm trying to do. Like even until today, I don't think there's any single person that is close to me that really even fully knows what I'm doing, because I don't even know, right? But I think the support is very important, and it forms a very key pillar in my life. So I would say, if the people who are currently around you are not, very supportive of what you're doing, try to look for that community that would enable you to positively reinforce your passion or drive. This is very nuanced lah. That's just a very general blanket statement, but yeah, something like that, right?
What are some other challenges? And then on the flip side, what are the benefits as well?
I think one of the biggest challenges is self-doubt for me personally, because you're not walking a conventional path. So there is no, the traditional definition of stability. You don't have it, and you will never have it. And there's a lot of self-doubt, especially when it comes to doing these things like what makes me so sure that I can do it? What makes me so sure that I have the ability to do it? And am I even good at it? There's always a lot of self-doubt. And even until today, right? Even as I'm teaching or I'm working with a client, I don't know if my strategies are going to work out. I don't know if my students are going to be enriched by my lessons. I don't know. So there's always a lot of self-doubt. And I think that is something that people who walk unconventional paths have to contend with. Like people like myself, maybe, might appear to be very confident, right? We might appear to seem like we know what we're talking about. But the truth is, I mean, speaking for myself, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, man, and I think it's to be able to embrace and admit to yourself that you don't know what you're doing. And that's okay, because you are willing to figure it out every step of the way, and to try to manage that self-doubt. Like for me, I think that is a very big challenge. Even until today, it's always a balance. But what I've come to realize over the years is that self-doubt is not a problem that is mutually exclusive to people who walk unconventional paths. You can be a freaking lawyer, you can be a accountant, a financial advisor. There's always a lot of self-doubt in everything we do. I think self-doubt is merely a symptom of being human. Yeah, so whether it's self-doubt or the concept of instability, I don't think it's exclusive to people like me who run our businesses or are freelancers. Because look at the recent tech meltdown, like all these big tech companies like retrenching so many people. So does it mean that you have that job means it's stable? No, you can still lose your job any single time. If you receive bad appraisals just because your boss doesn't like your face all the time, then maybe you don't get that increment, you don't get that, you might even get fired, right? So does it mean that you have a regular job, a full-time job means your life is stable? No, maybe for some people you have a stable income, but you can be emotionally very unstable because you haven't figured out your emotional part of your life and stuff like that, right? So I've come to realize over time that instability, or rather like security, it's not exclusive to people that choose to walk not very conventional paths. And that is a challenge that everybody will have to contend with. It's just whether we admit it to ourselves or not.
What about we flip it over to the positive side, right? So what are some benefits that you have seen from, being someone who doesn't have to, perhaps you don't have a boss that you have to answer to, or like doing music, educating, doing, songwriting in your free time. So being able to have that flexibility, I guess, is one of the benefits. But what other benefits do you see?
I think because I do a whole bunch of different things, even though the core is the same, it's always coming back to either marketing, communications, or music, I get to experience a lot of things. I get to meet a lot of people from a lot of different industries who possess a lot of different life experiences, and I learn a lot from them, which enriches my journey and my life a lot. And I think that's one of the benefits. One of the other benefits is that unless I'm required to be in school during semester, I can literally work anywhere. I can be on the mountain and doing my work and whatever. But that is also a con. I have to work everywhere because I'm a freelancer, right? And the fact that I can work anywhere means I need to lah. But it's also learning how to manage that lah. It helps that I don't hate the things that I do, so it doesn't always feel like work. Right? Whenever I have like a strategy idea or whatever, maybe I'm climbing a mountain, I just whip up my phone and write it down, record a voice message, then put it back in my bag and I just continue hiking or something lah. Right? So I think that is fun, and I'm very lucky to have a very understanding wife, family, and friends who don't bother me too much when they know that, even when we're hanging out, we're on holiday, JJ has to work lah, they understand. And I'm very fortunate to have them. That's probably why we're still friends, and, and I'm still close to these people lah. So that's another benefit, I think. And I think this is the best benefit.
Yes.
The best benefit, right, is that when you work a day job, your income is capped. If you make $7,000 a month plus CPF, you're gonna make $7,000 a month. Maybe you get that 2%, 3% increment a year. Yeah, sure. But how many years you gotta wait for your promotion? But
wow,
for me,
how snobby! I saw the face went a bit like
right. But that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, sure. Maybe you make $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month. Maybe you make $200,000 a month. But at what cost? Look at that recent thing with the TikTok CEO show, right? Pretty sure he makes a freaking lot of money. Pretty sure he enjoys his job also lah. But I don't think anybody wants to be in that position where you are berated by a whole bunch of, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but a whole bunch of people who doesn't really understand your job and
Correct.
things like that. And as a corporate worker, whether you're in law, you're a doctor, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with its own challenges, right? You still need to deal with clients like me. But at the end of the month, you get a cap salary. For some people, 5,000, 3,000, 15,000, 20,000, 200,000 is comfortable. Depends, right? But for people like me, I can be making $1 this month. I can be making negative $5,000 this month, but the next month I can be making 20,000, right? So that excites me, right? So even though the income every month is not always positive, but I don't cap my income limit, right? Which is the way that I like to do things. I like to know that my income potential is not capped, and that my approach to life, to work, is very simple. I don't chase the figures. I try not to chase the figures. I try not to be like, oh, I gotta charge this client this so that I can break even. All I'm trying to do, from my perspective, not advice, right? All I'm trying to do is trying to provide value to everybody that I work with. What I've come to realize over the years is that in the beginning, I'm always about the P&L, I'm always about the KPIs and stuff, but to what end? right? And always trying to, now I make $2,000 a month. Okay, now I have to make 3,000. Now I have to make 4,000. Now I have to make 5,000. It's never ending one. So at some point a couple of years ago, I stopped caring about my income. I stopped caring about how much money I make. I stopped caring about how much money I charge. Loosely speaking, all right. All I try to do is try to add value to all the people I work with, to the projects that I'm working on. As long as I know that I'm adding value, I feel like I'm adding value, the money will come somehow on, right? Sure, I'm not rolling around in like cash and dollar bills and stuff. Like, sure, I'm not, but do I have enough money to pay for the stuff that I need to pay for? Yes. Am I happy? Yes. Can I eat? I don't know, man. Can I eat like
Hai Di Lao.
Can I eat Hai Di Lao whenever I want? I mean, okay, maybe not every day, maybe not every week, but sure, I can go and enjoy that nice luxurious meal, maybe like once a month, kind of thing. I go and eat buffet every couple of months once, right? I can afford it. So that's life lah. I just try to add value, and as long as I can live the life that I want to live, which I think is pretty simple, if I continue to learn how to add value, I believe that my needs will be fulfilled. I don't need to make that $1 million a month. I don't need to make that $100,000 a month, $10,000 a month. I just need to make enough to pay for the things that I need to pay for, to continue to live the life I want to live, and to learn how to add value. That's it.
I especially like the point where you say that there is no cap as to how much your salary and how much you're earning, right? Because that is actually, you see, I've seen many corporate workers who are like, I'm only being paid $2,000 a month, right? I'm not going to OT for what, right? Like, I work my 8 hours, then bye-bye, I'm going to shut my laptop down. And because of that, many people's potential is a question mark. Because there's just no need to push that ceiling, right? So the fact that you intentionally put yourself in that position and then allowing it to, my hard work may equal or may not equal to how much I'm earning, pushes you. Because you dare to dream, you dare to imagine what kind of work you could possibly put out there. And then the value, I let you decide. But I'm hoping like at least that people appreciate your work for what it is, right? And the value will show on its own.
Yeah, in some way, but I do think that there's nothing wrong with being that, earning $2,000 a month person. Not everybody is born with drive or ambition. Not everybody is born knowing what they want to do. In fact, for me, the reason why I'm doing it is because I don't know what I want to do. So I just do a whole bunch of stuff, right? But I think there's nothing wrong with being that, happy to graduate from uni, make my starting pay $3,000 a month, or I don't know what it is now, like 3.5k maybe, 2.5k. Yeah, make my starting pay and just slowly go with the flow of the ocean. And I leave my job at 6. I don't care. I watch my Netflix on the weekends. I go picnic. I go cycling. That can be a very fulfilling life also, because it boils down to what you find value in your life, right? So for somebody like that, the value could be spending time with family, and the salary is merely a means to an end. Like for me, apart from the relationships that I value, I find joy in, into the unknown sort of things lah. I don't like boring, and that is what keeps me on my feet. That's what keeps me excited to live life, and that is my approach. But there's no one correct approach to life. I'm sure you've heard of this term called hustle culture, and I think it's very stressful. It puts a lot of stress on a lot of people in our generation, people in 20s, 30s, and millennials lah, Gen Zers and Zennials, and I think this hustle culture is not always healthy. Like, there are people like me who I like to hustle. I don't hustle because I'm trying to be a millionaire, because I find joy in learning lah, right? But I think this hustle culture, or like the popularity of hustle culture, has become slightly toxic, that some people feel the need to have a side hustle to turn their passion into their job, but you don't really need to, man. Sometimes if you like crocheting, just do it lah. You don't need to make money from crocheting. If you're happy crocheting, then you crochet, and you go and do that boring job as a dishwasher or whatever, because it is a means to an end. There's nothing wrong with that. It depends on, whether you find joy in the things that you are doing lah. There are always ups and downs in life, like I always say, but the general positioning, right, is that you're contented, right, with what you're doing. Life can always be better lah if you're chasing, like success, or like that bungalow at 6th Avenue. Never enough one. After you buy the bungalow, you want to buy a helicopter. After you buy a helicopter, you want to buy island, right? It's never enough one. So I think it comes back to learning how to be contented. Whether you're a hustler, you're driven, or you just like to laze around in front of the TV after work, it just comes back to learning what it means for you to be contented and finding a way to live that life.
So, regardless of the roles that you play in your daily life, what do you think are some of the proudest work that you have put out so far?
Oh,
Too many.
no. I mean, I try not to think about it, right? I try to live like one day at a time, and I just try to add value. I think I am the happiest when people tell me that whatever that I say, whether I'm their teacher or I'm their friend or they are my client, I feel the most happy when people tell me that whatever I've said or whatever I've done have helped them or have added value into their lives. I think that is one of my biggest motivating factors and things that I'm really proud of. It's not exactly the things that I have achieved or I have done that I'm always the most proud of, but it's because of me, somebody else managed to achieve a certain thing. And I think those things I'm always the most proud of, whether it's my students, the people around me, or my clients.
Yeah, and that's really great sharing. And with that, I've actually come to the end of the podcast recording.
Nice.
So thank you so much, JJ, for being so willing to share your life story with me. I think some takeaways that I really had today was about how you choose to intentionally tweak the way that you perceive the world and how much you really truly prioritize your happiness and how it's important it is to experiment and just go and get it, right? So if I have one last question for you, do you love roller coasters?
Why?
Because I don't know, you just love to put yourself in the this situation of like uncertainty, and you love it, right?
I do. I love roller coasters.
I think the higher the better for you.
I love skydiving.
Yeah.
That kind of crap. Jumping out of a plane. I love it. But I cannot dive. I got this like fear of like the sea.
Yeah.
I don't like to do snorkeling or diving.
Yeah.
But I love adrenaline-inducing activities.
Yeah, so anything, right? Yeah, so I get that sensing from you, right? Anything that really tries to get your nerves and make you really nervous, I think you love it, and that's what allows you to go to sleep at night.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I will put it that way, but I just want to live an exciting life. I don't know what's gonna happen at the end of my life. I don't know when is the end of my life. So every single waking moment, I try to make it as fruitful as possible while at the same time not giving myself the pressure that I've got to be, there.
Yeah, you're just
present.
doing what you love to do, right?
Yeah,
It seems like the mantra is as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't mean it doesn't come with its downsides. I still feel sad and cry sometimes because shit gets tough, right? For everybody, shit gets tough. I mean, I see a therapist, hey, shout out to my therapist. But yeah, we all need to manage things, people, emotions and stuff. Doesn't mean it's easy. I think sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs and people can portray their life as perfect, amazing, always happy, but it's not like that. And I think it boils back down to the balance, management, and being contented. I don't exactly like to use the word happiness because I think happiness is an illusion, just like success. But it's about content and being, try to, just hang around people I like, try to do the things I like. And I don't really know how to summarize this. I'm sorry for destroying your summary.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say that if you're looking for a sign to do something different, to find really that, that motivation and that assurance that it's okay to try something different, I think this is it, right?
For sure.
To
Yes.
take the right energy forward, to also have the right perspective moving forward. And so go forth, experiment, and see what happens. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. Woo! Peace. We're not ordinary, and I am JJ.